Peace and blessings. It's your girl Elisha. I was supposed to do this video earlier today outside on my patio, which was beautiful. Today it was 72 degrees in St. Louis, finally, and it felt good enough to sit outside. The sun was beaming. Of course, at 12 it was 12:40, and the sun was beaming, and the breeze was just enough, and the birds were chirping, and it was beautiful. So, but not so, but um, the divine plan would have it that someone called me at that time, and I got further insight into the topic that I actually want to talk about. Or I wanted to talk about this morning, then wanted to talk about it for a few days now. So that topic is speaking from the heart. Not trying to get someone to understand you from the mind or the intellect, because ultimately we've all had different experiences, we've all gone through different things, had different hurts, different aspects of ourselves are shut off, certain aspects of us are flourishing and wide open. But in speaking to someone from our intellect or our mind, where memories are stored in our brains, because science can prove to us that there are certain memories stored in certain parts of the brain, and if those parts of the brain are what they call in the medical field infarcted, or and that means to have the blood flow stopped from going to that area, and the result is tissue death. If that tissue dies, that part of the brain dies, people don't remember things. They can't talk, the memory's gone, or things like Alzheimer's. People can't remember current events, recent events. But what's funny is a lot of these people who have Alzheimer's remember very remote things, and I think those things are usually childhood, the experience they have with their husband or wife, the person they've been with for years and years, their children, older things. And my personal belief is that those things are stored in the heart. Those very precious and dear things, those memories, are stored somewhere else other than our intellectual, physical mind, the heart, which is not necessarily the heart pumping your blood. In totality, it's a part of it, but not completely it. So that's just my theory. But we have like an epidemic of people who can't communicate with one another, and I firmly believe it's because people are trying to speak from here instead of here. This energy, the center. You have three chakras: the crown and the throat, the third eye, the crown, the third eye, and the throat, and then you have the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus. But what's in the middle? The heart chakra. So all those physical ideas and things that you're trying to express, and the spiritual things, the only thing that they have connecting them is the middle, the heart. So in order to get someone to fully understand you from an aspect of feeling, because when I speak, it's because of a vibration that you can even hear me talking, and that is a fine and dandy way to communicate with people who have had the same experiences as you have. They can understand when you speak about something. They're like, oh yes, I feel you, I understand you. And the reason why they say they feel you, how we say, I feel you on that, girl, or I feel you on that, people are like, I feel you on that. The only reason they're feeling you is because they've been through it. They have felt it. So they can feel you. And you can just speak about it, and they say, oh yeah, I feel you. But the ones who have not been through the experiences that you've had, and that's what my conversation today, I literally had the experience of feeling what someone else was feeling, and getting that energy, rather than trying to have them intellectually explain it to me, and vice versa. They felt me because I stopped trying to intellectually explain my experience, the things that I have felt. Experience is a personal thing, it's a feeling thing. You feel it, becomes a part of you, and then now you know, you understand something. But for those who have not experienced, have not felt, you have to get them to feel it. And the only way to do that is to give them energy, not from here or even here, but here. Then they can take all your spiritual and higher vibration understandings and all your physical and lower vibrational understandings, and they become one. And that energy is very powerful. It can permeate into a heart that's receptive. Some people aren't able to receive everything, and that's fine too. But for those who are able to receive it, it's a beautiful thing. And you literally, I'm telling you, you literally feel it. So, practical application. How do you get to a point where you are able to stop having to intellectually, using your mind, your left and right hemisphere, to explain something to someone? How do you make it one? First and foremost, you have to get real with you. You have to speak to your own heart and know what it is that is in your heart, and have a soft and receptive heart. The Bible talks about that, having a soft and receptive heart. Not a heart made of stone, but a receptive heart. You know, it's alive and pliable. It's able to receive signals. You know, people die all the time of atherosclerosis, which is a hardening of the arteries. That comes from stress and somewhat what you eat, and like inflammation and things like that. But I always know that disease always has a metaphysical component to it as well. So we have to kind of get to the root of why we have hard hearts and hard arteries. A lot of it, I think, is fear. Matter of fact, I know it is. It's fear. And fear is very synonymous and very closely related to stress. And stress is a big part of hardened arteries, okay? And then usually some people have the addiction of smoking, which further hardens the arteries. But they use the smoking as what? A coping mechanism to relieve the stress, right? The nicotine does it, but then it has that secular kind of horrible cycle you get into. Well, the nicotine wears off, I need some more, so I gotta get some more, and you gotta keep getting that fixed. So at the root of it is stress. Well, sometimes peer pressure, how it starts off, but when you have that release and relinquishment of fear, you're able to open your heart and speak your truth. And from personal experience, holding back and not speaking your heart and being authentic and open with people is very damaging, because the reality is we are all connected and all here to teach one another some lesson on some level. And a person that doesn't have that open, receptive heart will not be able to feel and understand or get that prick that says, I need to speak my truth to this person so they can be real with me. Two unreal people cannot create something real. Somebody got to be real. There has to be some realness somewhere in that equation. You know, we put on a lot of fronts because due to fear of what? Rejection. Due to fear that this person is not going to like what they see. Due to fear that this person is not going to accept me, or this person is going to run, or this person is going to think there's something wrong with me. The reality is, I'm doing a video. Love you too. The reality is that you have to love and accept yourself fully and totally. And once you've done that, the heart's open. Because no matter what you put out there, you are going to attract something to you that's going to accept it and love it, because you already love yourself. So that's the key to getting over fear and opening up the heart communication. that is first opening up your heart, the heart of yourself, and being real with yourself, and receiving and purifying and cleansing all these things, and ultimately self-acceptance. And then you can work on, anything that you don't desire to stick around, aspects of yourself that you might not like. But ultimately, it starts with self-acceptance and that softening of that heart, so that you can know that I am loved, I am accepted, because you've already said it to yourself. You've already said, I accept me, I love me, I accept my mistakes, I accept my flaws, and guess what? Someone else will too. And anything that's not serving me, anything that's not serving my highest purpose and my highest good, anything I'm not comfortable with, it's not making me happy anymore, I can be free to let it go. But you gotta accept it in the first place. There is nothing evil, wrong, bad, dirty, dark about you. You are perfect already. And only in accepting that can you get to a place where you see yourself for who you are. And once you see who you are, other people can see who you are, and they can see the potential in you. And I know that sounds kind of backwards, because I'm saying you're perfect, but yet there's things that you might want to change. It's more like accepting the potential, how you were in the beginning, which was perfect, whole and complete, and nothing lacking. And once you can see that perfection in yourself, then you realize that we're all that. And then someone can reflect that to you. So anything that, like I said, is not serving you and that you do want to change can be done very easily. But being fake and being inauthentic and hiding and being fearful, nothing's ever going to change. And you're only going to get people who reject you and say, no, I don't want to deal with that, because you haven't dealt with self. So, in summary, be authentic and open with your own self, your own heart. Know yourself. Know what you want. Know who you are. Know your so-called flaws. Know the things, and I like to call flaws and shortcomings and negative things. I just say they are things that are not serving you. They served you at one time. That's why I can't just say, oh, it's a bad thing. Any aspect of you or anything you've ever done or thought or said is a bad and evil thing, because at one time it was good for you. It worked for you. For the simple fact that it taught you, even if it taught you how not to be, or that this is not the best way to do this, that was still a good thing. Okay? So, by accepting that and embracing it, then you can say, okay, I've learned my lesson from this. I've learned my lesson from being overweight. Most metaphysicians will tell you that being overweight is just a cover. It's hiding from the world, or it's some kind of defensive or protective mechanism that's keeping you from actually getting out there and doing what it is that you want to do. Or it's just a byproduct of depression and over consuming something to try to suppress or compensate for something that you're lacking. So once you've gotten to that root thing and you say, okay, me being fat, okay, I got fat. I was overweight. Why was I overweight? What did I learn from this? Did I learn this is how I don't want to be? What was I compensating for? What was I suppressing? And then say, thank you, weight, for serving your purpose. Now I know. And then you let it go. But you have to accept the fact that happened, and accept the fact that that's something you went through, and not be ashamed of it. If you were a bitch, or excuse my French, if you were a bitchy person and always mouthing off and cussing everybody out, now you've realized, well, I don't have to be like that all the time. I can be calm. I can be sweet, and that's fine. Realize that maybe you did need to be more assertive, or learn how to be more assertive in certain areas. And that now that you've learned that lesson, I don't have to build that wall up and be defensive all the time. Because I'm not saying there's never a time to be bitchy. You can be bitchy sometimes. Not bitchy in the sense of you ain't talking all the time, but that energy of asserting yourself, transmuting it from just nagging and random bitching to a strength, and turning it into something alchemy, turning it into something more useful, more precious, or more valuable. Okay? So, can't think of any more examples, but anything that you've done, being a dog, being a so-called cheater, what did you learn from that? If you don't desire to be that way anymore, instead of beating yourself up about it, say, well, why did I do that? Why did that happen? What was I looking for? And then let it go. Once you figured it out, let it go. And then come to someone on the other side and be authentic with that person and say, this is what I've been through. This is what I've learned. And guess what? That might be exactly what that person needs to hear. That you've been through the same thing and this is how you dealt with it. That's heart to heart. When someone says, I need to have a heart to heart, that's what that's supposed to mean. That I can share. Your heart contains all kinds of stuff, all kinds of memories. The good, the bad, the ugly. So denying any of them doesn't serve you. And it doesn't serve the person that you are speaking to. So being genuine, authentic with self will enable you to be genuine and authentic with others. And instead of trying to intellectualize and trying to get this person, because sometimes you do get wisdom. And you say, well, I'm trying to get you to understand that what you're doing is not very good for you. Well, how do you get them to understand it? The thing that feeling that you felt when the epiphany hit and it clicked, you said, oh, okay, this is why I shouldn't be doing this. You want them to feel it? Speak from here. It's still going to come out of your mouth, but it's just coming from a different origin, rather than trying to rationalize. Maybe I should be, tough love, or maybe I should be sweet and kind. No. The heart will let you know exactly how to say it. It'll just flow. It'll be real. You won't have fear. You won't hold back. It'll just come out. And it's healing. And it's beautiful. So, with that said, I hope that helps someone. That's something I learned over the past week. And it came to a head or a peak today. And I wanted to share it with you. So, peace and love. Peace and love.